What up, though? It's your boy Meech, aka the CI Saint. Hope everyone's doing well. Time for another fragrance video, and today we are going to do a versus battle between two clone fragrances that both dupe a very, very popular scent DNA in the fragrance community, or maybe even outside of the fragrance community. That scent DNA is Dior Homme Intense. If you're a fan of that scent DNA, like I am, I can't get enough of it. I don't own the OG, but I have two popular clone fragrances of Dior Homme Intense that we are going to talk about today. We are going to compare from the house of Pandora Scents, aka Paris Corner, Camaro Homme Intense, with from the house of Al Wantania, Kayaan Classic. And as you can see, it is a fingerprint magnet. Which Dior Homme Intense clone is the better clone? We're about to find out right now. Without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the intangibles. I would probably give a slight presentation edge to Kayaan Classic. The reason for that is I just like this Middle Eastern presentation. The box was very nice. I don't have it anymore. If you want to see that, it is in my first impressions review on my channel if you want to check that out. But it has a nice box that kind of lifts up door style. There is a felt backdrop that this sits in. Then, of course, you have this metallic presentation. It is a bit of a fingerprint magnet, so that could be a negative for some, but it's very nice. I like the look of this. Now, what I will say about Camaro Homme Intense is that this actually resembles the presentation of Dior Homme Intense much more than Kayaan Classic does. You got the clear glass bottle, you can see the juice, you got the black cap, so you got that going on where it does resemble the fragrance that it's cloning a bit more. But I'm a fan of some of the Middle Eastern presentations. I know sometimes they can be a bit over the top. They didn't overdo it with Kayaan Classic, so I'm going to give them the edge there. They both have, kind of average atomizers, nothing particularly to write home about in that department. So I'm going to go Kayaan Classic. On the intangibles, let's talk a little bit about how the fragrance smells. All right, so in talking about both of these fragrances at open, I will say that I've owned and spent more time with Camaro Homme Intense. Camaro Homme Intense, I purchased that fragrance probably in the early fall of 2023. It's been featured pretty prominently on my channel, which lets you know how I feel about it. It was in a video where I talked about my best clone pickups of 2023. It's been featured in a number of fragrance rotation videos. So I really, really like Camaro Homme Intense. I've likened the opening to smelling like a rock and rye soda or pop. I'm from the Midwest. We say pop. I know you guys say soda other places. But it has this soda pop-like fizziness at the top. And that gives me that rock and rye type of smell. It doesn't last very long. It kind of dissipates pretty quickly, but that's the vibe that it gives me at open. Kayaan Classic at open is very smooth. It is not as fizzy. I think the composition, the notes of the fragrance come together and blend a lot more quicker, so you get a more smooth presentation at opening with Kayaan Classic. As the fragrances begin to dry down with Camaro Homme Intense, the leather is featured a bit more in the fragrance to my nose. Labdanum can give off a leather type of feel, and you definitely get that as this begins to dry down. The hibiscus note in the fragrance actually stands out as well. With Kayaan Classic, the vanilla is definitely the most prominent thing to my nose as it begins to dry down. You get this creamy vanilla. The fragrance is a bit lactonic as it begins to dry down. The vanilla definitely stands out in Kayaan Classic. As we talk about longevity and projection, I would actually give the edge to Camaro Homme Intense. Again, it could be a result of me owning the fragrance longer and the fragrance being able to, macerate and mature more on my shelf. But this projects a little bit stronger off my skin. And on skin, I get about 6 to 8 hours of longevity. On clothes, it's going to last even longer. You can smell it on your clothes going into the next day. Kayaan Classic, again, I've only owned it for a few months. It gives you about 4 to 6 hours, at least on my skin, in the longevity department. Maybe as this begins to mature and macerate more, the longevity may improve. It's definitely a softer fragrance. It sits a little bit closer to the skin than Camaro Homme Intense. So I will say Camaro Homme Intense definitely projects a bit more. Now, Which fragrance is the better fragrance? That's tough. They are both great interpretations of Dior Homme Intense. I like them both. If you're looking for something that is a bit more leather forward, I would go with Camaro Homme Intense. So if you're a fan of leather, hibiscus, this might be the way to go. If you're a fan of the more creamy creamy vanilla, lactonic style of fragrance, I would go with Kayaan Classic. And for that reason, my personal preference is Kayaan Classic. I am a big fan of vanilla-centric fragrances. So because of that, because that stands out in this version of, Dior Homme Intense, I'm going to go with Kayaan Classic. Even though it doesn't last as long, it doesn't project as strongly as Camaro Homme Intense, I just like the vanilla here. I'm more of a guy who likes my fragrance to smell good, and then the longevity thing is kind of lower on my list of priorities. I would rather a fragrance smell really good and maybe not be as great in the longevity department than have a beast mode fragrance that scent profile is just okay. And this is no slack, or I'm not throwing any shade towards Camaro Homme Intense. Like I told you guys, one of my favorite cologne pickups in 2023. This is probably my favorite cologne pickup so far in 2024. They are both great interpretations of Dior Homme Intense. I would just say my personal preference is Kayaan Classic, but you can't go wrong with either. Again, you like leather, go with this one. You like vanilla, creamy, lactonic, go with this one. Be sure to check out my social media for more. Please like and subscribe on whatever social media platform you're watching this on. That would be greatly appreciated. Do you own either one of these Dior Homme Intense dupes? If so, let me hear your thoughts. Feel free to throw those in the comments section. Once again, it's your boy Meech, aka the CI Saint. Until next time, take care. Peace.